Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gemma De Silva, and I'm thrilled to have you all here today. It's going to be a great session. The topic today is exploring the new BIMTrack and Enscape integration with use cases. We're really excited about this new integration. It went live with Enscape 2.8 on the 15th of July. And today we're going to be diving into a bit of a live technical demo with some use cases, so you can really get a good idea of how you can use BIMTrack and Enscape together, and how you can use it within your own workflows. So following the demo, we're going to have time for your questions. So if you do have any questions that come up throughout the presentation, feel free to send those over via the chat pane, and I'll take a look at those and then put those to our speakers during the Q&A. So I'm not here alone. I am actually joined by two guest speakers. We have Danielle Urtubise from DataShapes and Carl Villette from BIMTrack. There you go, there's one of them. And they're going to introduce themselves in just a moment. But before I do hand over to them, we are actually going to launch a very quick poll. There's Carl, hello. Well, let's launch a quick poll just to find out a little bit about you. So we'd like to know, are you currently using BIMTrack or Enscape, or perhaps even both, or neither? So if you could just quickly fill that out, it'd be really good to know who we have with us today. And then we will have a look at those results. So I can see that most of you have voted. Let's have a look. So as you can see, okay, most people are using BIMTrack already. A few of you are already using both. That's great. And even a few people who aren't using either. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm now going to pass over to Danielle, who is going to introduce himself, and then we'll get into the technical demo once Carl's introduced himself as well. So thank you very much, Danielle.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. So this is going to be fun because this story we're going to tell today started, Carl can attest, started back at Build in 2017, where I figured that it would be awesome to have the best of both worlds, so we could join Enscape and BIMTrack, and it finally happened with release 2.8. So we're excited to show you that. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a co-founder of a company called DataShapes. If you guys do a little bit of Dynamo, you've probably used one of our package. I'm also the co-founder of the Paris user group and the Dynamo user group, and I happen to be Canadian, so now live in Paris, France. So I'm also the Goodwill ambassador for CanBIM, which is an organization based in Canada. If you guys want to get a hold of me, it's pretty easy. You can get through me by email or my Twitter account or LinkedIn or Pigeon or whatever you guys have handy. So here's what I'm working on currently. So it varies. It varies from housing to healthcare to several different types of projects, but it's also vary in sizes. Interestingly enough, there's literally three variables that mostly don't change at all. Is we use Revit on every project, we use Enscape on every project, and we use BIMTrack on every project. Hence the reason I was so excited to see all three coming together. I think I can pass it on to my friend Carl over there.
Great. So thanks, Daniel. So a bit about myself. My name is Carl Villette. I'm based in Quebec City in Canada. Usually people can find me in trade shows, but as you know, we're living this crisis at the moment. So hopefully, if you'd like to get in touch with me, we'll find some time after the webinar. But basically, I'm the co-founder of BIMTrack, coming from the industry. I've got an architecture background. Spent around 6 years working as a designer for structure engineering in projects. So various roles for a steel manufacturer, then for an engineering company. I've been involved in a lot of non-profit organization, OROG, a small Revit user committee in Ontario. I've been also involved in Building Smart Canada and also BIM Quebec, another local group that promotes digital transformation for the AEC industry. And some of you might know me as the co-founder of BIM One as well. So we've been helping the industry transition to BIM basically in the Quebec area. So this is a little bit about me. Very excited today to share the results of our latest collaboration with Enscape, and Moving on to the live demonstration, we're more specifically going to be talking about how the BIMTrack and Enscape configuration can be used in your day-to-day design review workflows. When it comes to BIMTrack, a lot of people associate the BIMTrack platform with clash management, but there's a lot more beyond managing clashes on a project. Today, we've seen a lot of our customers using BIMTrack for design reviews, especially in the context of remote collaboration that we're living today. We cannot always be all together around a table in a meeting with construction drawings in the middle of the table to go over coordination and project review. So we're going to be simulating basically some workflows between an architect, which is going to be played by Daniel, and a structural engineer, which is going to be played by myself. And also we're going to touch how the owner can be involved in there if there's any confirmation or approval required from him. So let's go over the demonstration. Daniel's going to start sharing his screen, and we're going to be switching to mine to show how the interaction between architecture and structure could happen with the BIMTrack and Enscape integration.
To the 16% that are not using neither Enscape or BIMTrack, your life's about to change. I got good news for you. So if you guys never used Enscape, a couple years ago I was introduced to those guys. It was Thomas. I think it's probably, if you're a designer, especially if you're a designer, it's probably one of the most disruptive technology we had in the last couple of years. It's the only one that actually do real time. So the idea is simple. In Revit, it uses Revit's material. It's pretty straightforward. You get to walk around your building. You go through doors. It's pretty straightforward, easy to use, and you probably guessed it. It's a wonderful project review tool. No offense, Carl. I love you, but project review on a web page or using an IFC viewer has literally nothing to do with what you can do in Enscape. So the idea now that I can see my design, I can have a look, I can go around. I'm wondering if maybe it's a little lagging because we're online. The idea now is when I find an issue. So I'm going to go around here, and obviously, just by the way, if you guys didn't know, Enscape now has what they call the BIM information embedded. So if you press B while you run Enscape, you can see what this element is. There's no reason why I should have a ductwork going through here. And here's where the real magic is now. Is before that, I would take a screen capture, submit it to my desktop, go back to BIMTrack and create an issue manually. Now all I have to do is press C, and this brings me to the collaboration tab. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into BIMTrack. I'm going to be prompted to fill out user and password, obviously, and then I can go back. And this is the list of hub I'm part of, and today we're going to be working out of the Enscape hub, the car dealer project. And that's it. So obviously we made sure that there was a couple issues already created. So I'm going to create an issue right here.
Can I just stop you there, Danielle? Have you
Yep.
paused your screen while you were putting in your password information?
Say that again?
Did you pause your screen? Just making
No.
sure that you're sharing your screen still.
Can you guys still see my
Yes.
screen properly?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you
yeah,
made me worried for a second.
Yeah.
You're testing me,
Just
right?
checking.
That's a test. He's testing me. God. So first thing you're going to notice, obviously, that's an Enscape image. The look and feel is totally different. HVAC, ductwork. In the wrong place. And then you can add more description, you can set the type. And since we got Enscape, this is something we started doing. We added a BIMTrack type called design review. So we know exactly those types. BIMTrack, Carl will show later, but we're able to filter down issues in BIMTrack very easily. So we create a new type called design review. So I know this is coming from a design review meeting. This is kind of critical. Obviously, you can add disciplines as you go. This would most likely be directed to mechanical. There's zones. I'm on the ground floor. Phase, I'm going to assign that to Carl because Carl's going to be the guinea pig today. And then I'm going to save it. Let me just do quick. Sorry about that. So I clicked outside. There we go. So I created a first issue. I'm gonna. Oh, I think I can mention that right away. You see those push pins? If you've used BIMTrack before, you've probably seen them. It's the previously created issues. I'm just gonna go right here and I'm gonna walk around this awesome corridor. There's let me just go here. See, I just want to add another issue here so I can tell Carl that the bracing needs to be fixed. Fixed bracing on railings. I'm going to set that as a design review. That's kind of highly. I don't want my railing to fall, obviously. This I'm going to mix. You can have more than one discipline, so I'm going to add architecture and structure. This is on the mezzanine level, and I'm going to, again, blame it on Carl. So this was, like I said earlier, and I think this is very important to stress, is when I do this, I'm literally like going around and having a discussion with clients, other parties involved. I can have a look in some offices. I know there's I know I have an issue. Oh, sorry. I don't want to make it full screen for all of you guys who are online. I'll just backtrack a little bit. I think Carl, you've already, let me show you how I can actually go to issues. See, Carl's already sent me an issue. See there? So Carl noticed there was an issue. It says no light in the showroom, which I actually fixed in the meantime. So when you create those issues, you can actually go back to this viewpoint directly inside Enscape. You don't need to go back to Revit and restart Enscape. So the interaction is literally going both ways. I wanted to show you one thing over there. Let me just go quickly over there, because obviously we did a few mistakes on purpose. There was a wall here, Carl. I think it disappeared in the structural model. Well, let me just do one more. One of the questions we had is, and I think Carl, you mentioned it earlier, is do we have all the people? Do all the people needs to be in Revit? One of the things we can do is we can actually create issues. In this case, I'm going to say, do we need wall painting on the walls? Do we need painting on the walls? Doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm going to address an issue here so that's a design review issue. Technically, that's up to somebody who's not even on Revit. This is technically for my owner. Maybe Carl will show it later. There's also, let me do that. There's also privacy issue. We can make sure that people see or don't see specific issues here. So I think, Carl, you can get it from there, so you can switch back to.
Right. Perfect. Thanks, Dan. So from there, taking my role as an engineer, switching back to my screen here. So I'll just try to take control, show my screen. Right. So just gonna make sure I've got the right one. All right, so I'm inside the Revit environment. I've got my BIMTrack add-in displayed, and you can see that just refreshing the issue list here, I've got the 3 issues that were raised by the architect Daniel. So there is something related to HVAC and duct in the wrong place, fixed bracing on ratings, and some other questions that's directed to the owner itself. So very quickly, in a single click, I can access the issue location, just hitting the view and model button here. So I will see that, oh, well, the architect came out with a new type of railing that's fixed to the side of the flange of the mezzanine beam here. So just gonna need some more information on what, if this is an intended change. So I'm gonna open this issue number 17 and gonna ask some clarification to the architect. So in this case, BIMTrack's acting a bit like a communication channel live between the different stakeholders. So I'm gonna say, is this really the final type of railing required? We will need to add some side plate to fix that. And then I'm gonna tag Daniel here. Sorry, Daniel. So he gets an email notification as well. And I can also, for example, take a screenshot. So I could say with a snip tool here, I could add some more information, draw on top of that with the image editing tool, and then post that to Daniel. So Daniel's going to be providing an answer to me. So I'm sure Daniel is typing an answer at the moment. So we can be, as I said, chatting live around that. So I'm just going to wait for Daniel to type something here. Yeah. See, your typing skills here.
Well, you did open the door to a really good answer.
Yeah, right. So really, it becomes a live communication channel between all the parties. And I've got the answer from Daniel here. I'm an architect, of course. It's the final design, but I still need drawings. So I'm gonna say, okay, well, this is fine, and I can proceed with the changes here. Revise the structure, save my model. Daniel's reloading the latest version of the model on his side, and then he will see obviously the things updated in the live rendered session in Enscape. So
yeah, just as a quick precision, if I can, Carl, I did answer that through Enscape. I did not went to the BIMTrack viewer or the app in Revit. I was actually in Enscape answering the comments, and I'm still sitting in Paris, and Carl's sitting in Quebec City.
Yeah, exactly. And Daniel doesn't have to leave his software of choice, which is Enscape, because he's an architect. So directly in Enscape, he can go about commenting and updating the viewpoints, making comments on the materials, things that are that requires coordination or approval in this case. So this is just one of the ways that an engineer and an architect could work together with BIMTrack and Enscape. And the truth is that obviously I'm the structural engineer, so I'm working out of the structure model here, and Dan's basically using the architecture model in Enscape with the structure link. So it really doesn't matter. Like the way BIMTrack works is with camera location, so you can transpose the issues in any version of the models, and also in any software. So it becomes very powerful when it comes to seeing things in different contexts. But moving on to the owner's side of things. So obviously the owners, most of the time, they don't have access to, Reddit or anything like that. So in this case, as an owner, there might be questions directed to me for approval of certain things, such as, for example, if I just refresh here, I'm using BIMTrack web platform to access the issues. So I will see that those issues are also available in the cloud in a web browser like that. So I see the HVAC and duct, the fixed bracing on railings here, and the comment on the paint. So I can basically, as the owner, go in there and I can see that there is something to clarify. Do I like the current style with the block wall and the sidings like that? Or do I want something else? I'm going to say, well, I think that we should add some paint on the block wall. Not sure if dark or bright is best. And I'm gonna post that. So then Daniel, as the architect, he's gonna go about making a comment, a suggestion about the type of paint that is required. So Daniel's gonna be commenting from the Enscape environment. And once this is done, I'm going to be able to refresh and get the answer from there. Obviously, you've got notifications sent by email, so it's really easy for the owner to get involved in that, process for design review. So just
try not to do any spelling mistake.
Okay, cool. Very important when you're talking with the owner.
Well, it's the guy that pays the bill. You got to be serious.
Right. Just gonna hit refresh like that, and I will see that comment from Daniel as the architect. Just try bright, and it will be probably the best choice here. So we can do a meeting and talk about that. So obviously those thumbnails here can be changed as well to show the new finishes, for example, or things that were discussed in this specific request. So so this is really, as I said, how the entire team can collaborate with each other without having on-site meetings or wait for formal meetings to start technical coordination. But more importantly, people need to report on those issues. So usually after the meeting, someone's going to go about creating meeting minutes or meeting notes or a report of some sort. So this can be easily achieved with the BIMTrack reporting engine. So from there, what you can do is say, well, I want the issues assigned to that are open assigned to the structure discipline here. And there's a lot of different formatting options that you can use for changing the way the report looks like. But you can also schedule the report to be sent automatically. So let's say there's ongoing coordination on design review happening in the middle of the week. Then you can, I'm just gonna have to create a template here. So this is gonna be pending issues, assign to structure. And this is going to be a shared template I'm going to be using. So from there, I can click on schedule reports, and I can call it the same way, structure open, and say every week, every Friday, this report for pending issues assigned to the structural engineer is sent automatically by email. So this way, you can keep track of the current statuses of the request. And you can send that to the structural engineer or specific teams that are part of the project as well, and schedule it. So this way it's going to be done automatically. So let me show you what the report will look like. So I'm just going to print this one for now. So at the beginning, you're going to have a resume of what's included in the report. So right now it's working on formatting as PDF. You're going to see the split of issues per priority, per phase, per zone of the project. Everything is customizable, obviously. And then from there, you will see the list of requests or approvals required. So imagine that you could have a filter set for design review type of questions in BIMTrack that are still open, sent automatically as a reminder every month or so to the owner. So that's also something that could be done. So you're going to see, obviously, the screenshots that were raised using the screenshots that were created in the issue inside Revit, and you're going to also see the image coming from the Enscape environment. So obviously you could have different sources of questions and answers coming from different software in the same report like that. So this is pretty much what can be done with the integration. So it's really both ways. Kind of workflow where you can access issues raised in BIMTrack inside Enscape, or raise issues inside Enscape and see them in BIMTrack. So we can also, for example, give access to the models in the BIMTrack viewer. So if you were to share, for example, certain models, the owner could access the issues directly in the web-based browser like that, just clicking on the view and model, and it's going to drive them to the right location. So this way, everybody is talking around the same, I would say, the latest version of the models. So you can see, okay, well, this is what the finishes are going to look like in this specific room here with the design coordination model. So this is pretty much what we had to show today. I'm hoping that you guys will give it a try and let us know, you know, areas for improvement around the integration, and also how you like it in your day-to-day workflow. This is just the beginning of, I think, a strong partnership with Enscape and BIMTrack, and hopefully we'll get some feedback from you to continue developing around that. So we will open up for a question and answer session here. If you guys want to ask technical questions, we'd be happy to cover those and maybe show you some of the detailed answers that we will provide.
And Gemma is back.
Thank you so much. I am back on the right webcam. Cool. Well, thank you for that. We did have a few questions come in, so let's have a look at what we've got. The first one was asking about creating issues in Enscape. So they're asking where they get the shortcuts from to create those issues. So
that's the keyboard letter C. Collaboration. Kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah. And you can also right click on that screen as well, can't you, and create an issue that way.
Sure.
If you don't want to use the shortcuts. Great. One other person has asked, what kind of benefit do I get if I use BIMTrack in addition to the collaboration tool of Enscape? So,
Carl, think it's fun.
Well, obviously, what BIMTrack is providing in terms of value in the process is a quick communication channel to go back to the original software, the authoring software where the issue needs to be solved. So quickly finding the issue location will save you a lot of time in there. But also in terms of report creation, this is also something that's provided as part of the BIMTrack platform. So if you wish to create reports and even automate those reports, obviously you would need the BIMTrack platform for that. There's also a metric section in BIMTrack that I haven't shown here, but it's pretty useful to make the issues and the requests actionable on the project, so you can see exactly with donuts and pie charts how many issues are open, how many issues are closed, and really make sure that nothing's falling in between the cracks here.
I think you know what I love is that when you guys are asking questions and somebody else besides us is answering it, I think there's Pierre's answer to this question that I want to read. It's summarized with Carl. It says the real power of all these apps is that you can work without swooping and maintaining an audit log, massive time saving and lowering risk. I mean, it's exactly what Carl just said, you know, but it's by somebody who doesn't have to sell a software to make a living. That gives, for me, it's a strong statement. It means a lot when you guys come back and have answers for instead of us.
Sure,
it's brilliant.
I'm sure
exactly what it's for.
I'm sure the community is gonna be sharing a lot of workflows and use cases in there. I think people are pretty excited about it at the moment. So
definitely. Cool. Thanks for that. We have another question from Diego. Are you notified when someone assigns you an issue?
Sorry, say it again.
Are you notified? Yes. Yeah. Do you get a notification?
Yeah, you get a notification. You can also change the frequency for those notifications in your user profile in BIMTrack.
Very important, yeah. You do get a notification, but you get control over those notifications, because obviously you don't want to get an email every 5 minutes.
No, that would not be good. Cool. Another question here. Does this integration work when working with an exe Enscape file, the standalone one?
Not that I know of, and I'm pretty sad about it, but I'm pretty sure.
Not yet, but I think it's something that came up as a question in our previous webinar, and I think it's something that is being looked at the moment by the Enscape team. So hopefully we'll get the same features in the web and also the exe file that can be used.
Brilliant, thank you. Does BIMTrack work with SketchUp and Enscape?
So we don't have an integration with SketchUp at the moment, but it's something that's been kind of requested. So I encourage you, if you're a BIMTrack user at the moment, to submit that in our ideas portal. But obviously, this is something that we're going to be considering for future integration. We've got more than 20 integration at the moment, so it's still growing pretty fast, and hopefully we're going to be able to have more integrations with softwares like SketchUp down the road.
Brilliant. There's a question here, I'm not sure if we can answer this now, but it says, in terms of computing power, what is most important to make this process smooth?
So I would encourage Dan,
that's a pretty large question.
Might be cruel.
Well, BIMTrack itself is not very demanding, to be honest. So I'm guessing you're talking about Enscape. Enscape relies a lot on your video card. So if you can work with all the brand new RTX, they're amazing. The results are brilliant, insane, and they're crazy fast. But you'd be surprised. I mean, you still need decent computer nowadays, but you'd be surprised. That's one thing Enscape does when you compare it. Does really well when you compare it to other solution like Twinmotion, for example, or what's the other guy? God, I'm getting old. Those guys really require serious hardware. Enscape is doing a little better in this department.
Yeah.
It's also going to depend on the size of your project. Obviously, that's always the ground base of everything.
Yeah, obviously, if you're working on a super large project, hospital project, you're probably going to need some serious resources to run Revit. So there's all sorts of tricks that the guys at DataShape can probably help you with. But outside of that, I would recommend to look at the specification from the Revit website, and also at the specification on the Enscape side, which is pretty detailed. So if you want to get a good insight on what's going to be required to run live rendered session like that, it's probably a good place to start with. But I would say, even with my Republic of Gamer $2,000 computer here, I'm able to run pretty large project in Enscape. So I think it's pretty performant platform for that.
Brilliant. Thank you. Another quick question. Is there a limit to the number of issues that can be created in BIMTrack per project?
So there isn't a limit of issues that can be created per project if you're under a paid subscription. We also have a freemium plan that you can use. So this freemium will be limited to 50 issues. So that's a good place to start with. And if you've got pretty small project like house, single residential house project, those things, for a project like that, then this is probably going to be enough. But I suggest that you give it a try. Process is very simple. You go on BIMTrack.co, and then you just hit sign up, and you're going to get in there pretty quickly. So that's pretty much it.
Good. Brilliant. And Pierre has come back in response to when we were talking about what's required in terms of computers. And so he says RTX 3000 on my laptop, and the panoramics take 1.5 minutes at 4K to create. So he said that's pretty phenomenal, which it is, very fast. If you have any other questions, you can quickly send them in. Otherwise, we'll probably be wrapping this up very shortly. A few people have been asking if the webinar is being recorded. It is. And we will get a copy of that out to you in the next few hours. And within that email, we will also mention the fact that you can take out a free trial of both BIMTrack and Enscape.
If someone asked if you can run, does Enscape have to be live mode? No, it's not. I actually did mine with the live update turned off. It doesn't have to be live, but it had to be loaded, obviously. No comments on my Etherpad.
No, I was about to.
Pretty good. Sorry about that. So there's pretty good documentation on the BIMTrack website on the integration section about the Enscape integration. So if you want to start somewhere, there is the help center available there. It explains the step-by-step to connect to Enscape and then access your project, publish issues, things like that. So I encourage you guys to start from there. And if you've got more questions, we're going to stay on the line for another couple of minutes.
Very good. Let me just check.
There's Jay who asked twice about, I think we can answer that, VREX and Enscape. They're totally two different things. One thing that VREX does, so they both integrate with BIMTrack, which is kind of cool because you can literally have in the same project, you can use both environment, Enscape and VREX. VREX's ability is to have multi-user VR. That's literally what they do. So you can use VR, you can raise issue, but you can have multi-users, which Enscape doesn't do yet. And I said yet because I keep asking those guys to do it.
Add it to the wish list.
Oh, I have a long one. I think they're tired of my wish list.
I think the nice thing about the Enscape 2 is you know, the photorealistic aspect, which is you know, pretty cool. I mean, it's almost instant, and they've got a lot of support for different type of assets outside of the, you know, Revit ecosystem itself. So that's another, I would say, interesting point to look at if you're looking for realistic renderings. Enscape is probably the best solution for that.
Oh, you're too kind, Carl. Thank you.
I mean,
We are a
customer of Enscape on the service side as well. So we're running a service division, and we've been using it on a lot of projects. So I think it does what it do pretty well. So
cool, fantastic. Thank you. We have another quick question here. Can I import Navisworks NWD file into the platform, and is there a size limit?
Which platform? Because you can't import a Navisworks directly into BIMTrack. You can't import a Navisworks into Enscape. Actually, if you link, I think it started in 2020, you can link a Navisworks file in Revit, but right now they won't show in Enscape. So I'm not sure. If you have a Navisworks, you can convert it to an IFC, but there's also a plugin for Navisworks, a BIMTrack plugin. So if you raise your clash there, you can actually publish them to the platform.
Right.
And you can publish and IFC. So I'm not really answering your question about the file size, but no, you can't bring an NWD, but you can convert an NWD to an IFC and send it to BIMTrack.
You don't actually have to publish you know, Navisworks models in BIMTrack to make it work with the issue tracking side panel. So because we're using coordinates, you don't have to share your model online or anything. So that's something some of our customers like, because it's almost instant. You just log in and then you can access and transpose any issues in any models without the need to publish them. So it makes it quick and fast.
Brilliant, thank you. Another quick question. Are the rendered images kept in the Revit model?
It's for you to decide. When you render, you can actually save it as a JPEG or file format outside of your Revit file, or you can save it in Revit as a rendering image. It's up to you. Oh, here's a good one. When will the BIMTrack have a native iPad app for mobile viewing without internet connection?
Well, this is something that we've been looking at for a little bit of time. So obviously, it's still something we're actively working on. But I would say we're also looking at integrations with existing mobile apps. So we'd like to learn more about mobile apps that you may be currently using in your workflow, and you know, continue discussions with our partners' ecosystem, and maybe connect with those apps in addition to looking at how our solution is used in the field as well.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Right, I think we can leave it there. Thank you so much for sending in all of your questions. Thank you, Danielle and Carl, for presenting to us today. Thanks for joining us. Before you leave, there is a short survey that will pop up on your screen, so you can let us know your feedback. We'd love to know what we can do to make these sessions better. So if you could complete that, we'd really appreciate it. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll also send you a copy of the recording in the next few hours, and a couple of other useful links, so keep an eye out for that. So with that, thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again, Danielle and Carl. And I hope you can all join us again for another webinar very soon. Thanks very much, everybody.
Ciao, guys. Have a good day.